You got paid on Friday. You checked the account. You paid the rent. You bought groceries. You filled the tank. You looked at what was left and made the calculations you always make. This weekend or next month, the trip or the repair, the want or the need. You have been making these calculations your entire life. Somewhere right now, a man is also making calculations. Not about the rent, not about the tank, not about the trip or the repair. He is calculating whether to buy an island or build one. He is calculating whether his next yacht should have a submarine attached to it. He is calculating whether to fund a space program or acquire a social media platform or both. These are not different versions of your calculation. These are a completely different category of human experience. This is how billionaires spend their money. It is not fictional. It is Tuesday. From the first billion to 100 billion. Level by level. Dollar by dollar. A world so far from yours it sounds fictional. $1 billion. The first one. You have $1 billion. You do not feel like a billionaire yet. Not in the way the movies suggested. You feel like someone who built something for 20 years and is slightly surprised it worked. The first thing you do is almost nothing. You hire a family office, a team of people, lawyers, accountants, investment managers, a personal CFO, whose entire job is managing the complexity of having this much money. The family office costs approximately $2 to $5 million per year to operate. You're paying more per year to manage your money than most people will earn in their lifetime. You buy a house. Not a mansion. Not yet. A very good house in a very good neighborhood. $8 to $12 million. 4 bedrooms. A view. A kitchen your chef uses. Yes, you have a chef now, not because you wanted one, but because time is the thing you cannot buy back and cooking takes time. You buy a plane. Not a large one. A mid-size private jet. A Gulfstream G45. Or similar. $25 to $35 million. The math that justifies it is simple. Commercial aviation costs you 4 hours per trip in airports. Security. Connections. Private aviation costs you 40 minutes door to door. At your level of wealth, 4 hours has a value that makes the plane rational before it becomes a luxury. You have not changed dramatically. You wear similar clothes. You eat similar food. The restaurants are better, but the meals are recognizable. You still work. Hard. You did not stop working the day the billion arrived. The billion arrived because you did not stop working. What changed is the buffer. At 1 billion, you're insulated from every financial emergency that has ever existed in human history. Medical, legal, economic, catastrophic. Every category of financial disaster that has ever ended someone's life is now simply an inconvenience with a price tag you can afford. That insulation does not feel like wealth. It feels like silence. The permanent, deep, uninterrupted silence of never having to calculate the tank or the trip or the repair again. $5 billion. The compound effect of having too much. You have $5 billion. The money is now generating more money than you can spend. At a conservative 5% annual return, $5 billion produces $250 million per year. That is $684,000 per day. $28,500 per hour, $475 per minute. While you slept last night, your net worth increased by approximately $5.4 million. You did not earn it. It arrived. The way rain arrives. The spending problem at this level is real and misunderstood by almost everyone outside it. You cannot spend $250 million a year on things you actually use. You can try. The math defeats you. The house is upgraded. Now it is a compound. Multiple properties across multiple continents. A primary residence in one city. A beach house. A mountain retreat. A pied-à-terre in a European capital you visit twice a year. Total property portfolio. $80 to $120 million. Staff to maintain them. 40 to 60 full-time employees across all locations. You have properties you visit for 3 days a year, being maintained by full-time staff for all 365. The plane is upgraded. Now it is a large cabin jet, a Boeing business jet or Gulfstream G700, $70 to $90 million. You have stopped thinking about the cost of flying. The concept of ticket prices no longer exists in your world. You fly the way other people take the elevator. Art begins. Not because you particularly loved art before, because at this level art is one of the few assets that can absorb significant capital, appreciate meaningfully, hold privately, and require almost no ongoing expense relative to its value. You spend $30 to $50 million on your first serious art collection. A Basquiat, a Koons, a Hearst. Things that hang on walls and appreciate while you sleep. The yacht appears. Not a large one yet. 50 to 70 meters, $30 to $50 million to purchase, $5 to $8 million per year to operate. A crew of 12 to 20 people whose entire professional life is maintaining a vessel you board 30 days a year. The math of the yacht does not work. You know this. Everyone at this level knows this. The yacht exists not because the math works, but because the alternative is leaving $50 million in an account, doing what $50 million already does everywhere else. The spending is not consumption anymore. The spending is portfolio construction with objects. $10 billion. The problems money cannot solve. You have $10 billion. You have now encountered something unexpected. Something nobody warned you about, and nobody outside this level can fully understand. Running out of things to buy. Not literally. The objects available at this level are extraordinary. The $450 million super yacht with its own submarine and IMAX theater and 2 helicopter pads. The private island in the Maldives. The medieval castle in France. The entire floor of the most exclusive building in the most exclusive city on Earth. You can buy all of it. That is exactly the problem. When everything is available, nothing is exciting. The first private jet was extraordinary. The third one is logistics. The first great house was a dream realized. The sixth property is a maintenance obligation. The first great meal in a 3 Michelin star restaurant was an experience. The 400th is dinner. Psychologists who study ultra-high net worth individuals consistently identify this phenomenon at the 10 billion level. Hedonic adaptation, the human tendency to rapidly normalize any new circumstance, operates at the same speed regardless of the price tag of the circumstance. Your brain does not know you paid $80 million for the view. Your brain just knows it is Tuesday, and this is what Tuesday looks like now. So you do what billionaires at this level consistently do. You stop buying and you start building. Not products, not companies necessarily. Legacy. You fund a hospital wing, not a donation plaque. An entire wing. $50 to $100 million. Your name on a building that will exist after you. You start a foundation. The paperwork is simple. The implications are not. A foundation at this scale is a parallel institution, with staff, strategy, investment policies, and the ability to direct hundreds of millions of dollars toward problems you have decided matter. You begin to understand what power actually feels like. Not the power of money, the power of direction, of being able to point at a problem and watch resources flow toward it. This is the moment most billionaires describe as the first time wealth felt real. Not the plane, not the yacht, not the island, the foundation. You have $25 billion. Something has changed that cannot be undone. You're no longer a wealthy person. You're an institution. Your decisions move markets. When you buy a significant stake in a company, the stock price responds before the announcement. Traders watch your filings. Analysts track your moves. Your investment thesis, the private conviction you formed alone in a room, becomes a public signal that billions of dollars follow. You did not ask for this influence. It arrived with the number. The spending at this level becomes almost philosophical. The physical objects are largely acquired. The homes, the planes, the art, the yacht. These are maintained and occasionally upgraded, but they are no longer the primary allocation of attention. The primary allocation of attention is now the question that every billionaire at this level eventually confronts. What do I actually want to do with the time I have left? Some buy sports teams, not for the economics. Sports team ownership at this level rarely generates returns commensurate with the capital deployed. They buy sports teams for the cultural presence, for the seat at a table that money alone cannot purchase, for the specific kind of visibility that comes from owning something millions of people care about passionately. A Premier League football club, $3 to $5 billion. An NBA franchise, $3 to $6 billion. An NFL team, $5 to $10 billion. The sports team is not an investment. The sports team is a statement about who you are and where you want to be seen. Some fund scientific research, not as charity, as personal agenda. The cancer that killed someone you loved. The disease that medical institutions have underfunded for decades. The scientific problem that has not been solved because there was never enough patient capital willing to wait long enough for the answer. You are patient capital now. You're the answer to the funding question that stumped institutions for generations. Some go to space, not metaphorically, actually. You have $50 billion. There are fewer than 20 people on Earth with more wealth than you. You have achieved something so statistically rare that the human brain cannot fully process its own position. You are not just wealthy. You are historically wealthy. Wealth at this level has no precedent in most of human civilization. And you are lonely. Not in the way the word usually means. You have people around you constantly. An assistant who manages every minute of your schedule. Security personnel who travel with you everywhere. An inner circle of advisors and confidants who have been with you for decades. But the loneliness at 50 billion is specific. Nobody in your life can fully speak to you as an equal, not because they are not intelligent or accomplished or worthy of respect, because the context of your daily decisions, decisions that involve billions of dollars and affect thousands of people and shape industries, is a context nobody around you shares. You cannot call a friend and say you're trying to decide whether to acquire a satellite communications company or build one from scratch and have the friend actually engage with the decision from experience. You are alone in the decision in a way that is structural, not emotional. The spending at 50 billion has largely ceased to be about objects. The house in Maui is maintained. The super yacht is staffed. The art is insured. The plane is ready. But the primary allocation of money at this level is no longer toward things. It is toward impact. Your foundation now operates at a scale comparable to the budget of a small nation. The decisions your foundation makes about which diseases to fund, which educational systems to support, which infrastructure projects to back in which developing countries, these decisions affect millions of people who will never know your name. You have become a government that elected nobody. The power is real. The accountability is not. This is the conversation almost nobody has about extreme wealth, not whether it is earned or deserved or fairly distributed, but what it actually does to the person who holds it. The money does not change you overnight. It changes you gradually. In the specific ways that power always changes people who hold it long enough without meaningful opposition. You have $100 billion. There are 4 or 5 people on Earth who understand what this number feels like from the inside. The purchases at this level are not about luxury. Luxury was 3 levels ago. The purchases at this level are about legacy, power, and the particular kind of immortality that money can almost but not quite buy. You fund a space program, not as a vanity project, as a genuine conviction that the long-term survival of the human species requires becoming multiplanetary. The annual budget of your space company exceeds the GDP of some countries. You are making decisions about the future of human civilization. In the same week, you're deciding whether to change the color of your yacht. You acquire a media platform, not because you need more money, because the conversation that shapes public reality, what people believe, what they discuss, what they consider true, is the most powerful force in modern civilization. And you have decided you want to be near that force. You fund longevity research, not abstractly, personally. With the specific urgency of someone who has acquired everything available in one lifetime and would like another one to figure out what to do with it. The spending has become indistinguishable from governance. You are making decisions that affect the direction of technology, media, science, and geopolitics. You did not run for office. You were not appointed. You were not elected by anyone. You got here by building something people wanted to use. And the accumulation of those individual choices, millions of people choosing your product, your platform, your service, compounded into a position of influence that no democratic system designed or approved or intended. At $100 billion, you are not a businessman anymore. You're a force, and forces do not ask permission. You got paid on Friday. You checked the account. You paid the rent. You bought the groceries. You filled the tank. You made the calculations you always make. The trip or the repair. The want or the need. The man with $100 billion made his calculations too. The space program or the media platform. The longevity research or the satellite network. The distance between your Friday and his is not just money. It is a different relationship with time, with silence, with power, with loneliness, with the question of what you actually do with a life once the financial pressure that shaped every decision you ever made simply stops. Most people never find out what they want when they are not afraid. The billionaire found out. And the answer, across almost every one of them, is not the yacht. It is not the island. It is not the 100-room house or the private jet or the art on the wall. The answer is always the same. More. Not more money. More meaning. More impact. More time. More problems worth solving. More territory to cross. More questions worth asking. The $1 billion does not answer the question of what to do with a life. It just removes every excuse for not answering it. You already have the question. You do not need $100 billion to start answering it. You just need to start.